from the Lions 34. Addison in motion, handoff, Jones roam. Left side across the 30, 25-20, sprints to the end zone, touchdown! Aaron Jones has run the Minnesota Vikings to a 6-0 lead. Vikings 2 of 5 on third down. This is 3rd and 8 from the Lions 25. Addison in motion to the left. Lions blitz. Darnold hit as he throws to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown! Justin Jefferson with his 5th touchdown this year. It's 21-16 Lions. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to TCO Studios in Eagan, Minnesota, home for your Minnesota Vikings. Welcome to a TCO Studios Talker Tuesday, and I'm Paul Allen. Nordo, Eric Nordquist, mad producer. He's on site with yours truly producing. And Maxwell Fuller, young Maxwell, guides the Great Ship Love Covenant from the 651 Carpets Plus Studios at FM 100.3 KFAN. The Minnesota Vikings are off to SoCal tomorrow for what hopefully is a Thursday night beatdown of the Los Angeles Rams. They beat down the Los Angeles Rams, and the Minnesota Vikings keep pace with the Detroit Lions for top seed in the NFC and put the Rams on a 2-5 record, subsequently doing solids for everybody else in the NFC West. I wonder, what do you think of this? Good morning, Nordo.
Good morning.
I wonder if there will be a video tribute for Kevin O'Connell Thursday night when he comes back to SoFi Stadium. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. They won a Super Bowl with Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell and several members of this coaching staff, some players too, like Brandon Powell and Cam Akers and so on. And it's his first trip back to SoFi. And he shot Do football teams do video tributes for like former coaches? It's not hitting me right now.
No, and maybe what they do just as a nod of respect. Kevin O'Connell, you'll hear some KO cuts next segment, as a matter of fact. But yesterday, when he was speaking to the media, he kind of went in detailed terrific relationship that he has with Sean McVay. And kind of in the midst of the season, it's not like they're texting each other every couple hours now, but a big part of his development, of course, as a coach. You're not doing a tribute. What they should do, because I think when Stafford and the Rams went back to Detroit, I believe the Kitties did something for Stafford. So do you do kind of a three-piece? You mentioned it, and maybe I feel bad because I feel like we're Rams Midwest. You have Wes Phillips, formerly with the Rams, right, too?
Yeah.
So do you do
you
just...
got Chris O'Hara, who works with the offense, former quarterbacks coach. He's on the staff, former Ram.
Yeah, so I think in some ways, and the Rams fans themselves, the few hardcores that exist, they'll appreciate it. Most of the casuals in the audience will not at SoFi. But maybe you do some sort of a collage, some pictures or something. Thanks, guys. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
Because the combination of coaches and ex-players...
Yeah.
We got some ring cred on this team.
Well, if I like that road you went down, because if you want a loud ovation at SoFi, then show former Rams who are with the team, that's the other team that's in the building, because they'll probably have more fans than those donning the blue and gold and the Rams horns and stuff like that.
Well, I'm anticipating on a Thursday night. It's a weird bit. I don't, we're busy, MEA's over. People are living their lives. I wouldn't expect it to be donned in purple and gold the way that it might be if it was a Lambeau bid or something like that. But I think Vikings fans travel really well. I'd expect 10,000, 15,000 Vikings fans there.
I like that number. I think the biggest United States of America Minnesota Vikings fan club outside of this state is in San Diego.
For real.
It's like San Diego, Arizona-ish. So I think the 10 to 15 numbers are a really good number.
We got a lot of snowbirds. We got a lot of people maybe that head to the Southwest to seek warmer, drier air temperatures in the midst of the winter. and maybe that's why they're representing. But I think we'll see a nice crowd on Thursday night, and they should. How about just even a little photo, just a
nod,
a walk through the park of a Super Bowl season that featured several members that are currently with the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, he was the offensive coordinator for a team that won the Super Bowl. So it's not like, and this is with all due respect to every quality control coach in the history of the National Football League. Let's not be 2024 touchy-feely here.
I like the disclaimer so that you can still make eye contact with certain people in the hallways.
Thank you. It's not like, some ancillary piece just rolled in who happened to be with the team for one. This was the offensive coordinator.
Let me ask you this, though, and you know that I love Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same vein, when we had Mike Zimmer here, okay, if the Vikings win the Super Bowl in 2017, best defense in the NFL. It evolved to that.
Right.
It peaked and it fell off. I get it. In 2017, if they win the Super Bowl, George Edwards. Okay?
Oh, for the Cowboys.
And I like George.
Wow.
I like George.
That's a really, really good point.
But come on. I mean, that no one's sitting around going,
That's a very good point.
Man, it was unbelievable what George Edwards did with the Vikings defense in the 2017 season. Now,
no, it's a video nod, like you said, with pictures.
So exactly, I don't even think it's a video. I think it might just be still pictures.
Or it could be, if you just want to show O'Connell, because I think it would get a rousing ovation from 10 to 15 to 20,000 Vikings fans who will be there. And the skeletal remains of Rams fans still thinking the head coach for their team is John Robinson and they're going play action to Flipper Anderson off Eric Dickerson. Maybe it'll be big voice guy being like, "Welcome back to SoFi Stadium, former Rams Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell." And then he's on the screen. That's all you have to do. And then he'll give a quick little nod. What if big voice guy gets bad copy and is like, "Welcome back to SoFi, former Rams Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connor." I mean, I'd almost pay $500 for somebody to do that.
So you've been to SoFi, right?
Yeah.
So we have Alan,
Chargers game.
We have Alan Roach on, Vox of all Voxes. Do they have a good in-stadium Vox?
Well, see, it's interesting you say that.
Because not all play-by-play people were created equally.
Yeah.
Not all in-stadium Voxes. Right. And I mean, how can you replicate Roach? So I'm curious what, again,
that should be a documentary, replicating Roach, and then go to all the bad in-stadium, in-arena announcers over the last 20 years trying to be Alan. Replicating Roach.
Well, that exactly. So I wonder in a city, in a sports culture that there's so much transience and so much. I guess I don't want to say apathy, but it's kind of like the Dodgers right now. And everybody's a Dodgers fan in L.A. right now, but they've never been to Chavez Ravine. The Lakers, if the Lake Show gets off to a hot start, excited to talk to Fincher later on about the opener tonight.
Finchy.
When the Lakers are in it's a Lakers town, right?
Yeah,
but
it's
the freaking Rams.
Yeah.
Like I just can't imagine what their in stadium vibe is like.
All right, let's go off script for a minute, because yours truly, as you know, lived in Southern California, 79 to 1993. So when I got there in 1979 at age 12, the L.A. Dodgers with players like Steve, say yes or no if you recognize these names. Steve Garvey.
Yes.
Ron Say.
Yes.
Don Sutton.
Yes.
Dusty Baker.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Dusty.
So on and so on. They.
What about Drysdale?
Don Drysdale. Absolutely. They ruled the roost.
Do you remember the bit?
Yes. Yeah.
Where you had me reach out one of my first days working with you.
Oh, that's age old.
You had me reach out to the L.A. Dodgers to see if Don Drysdale was available for an interview.
Oh, that had to be an Avid production. I mean, it's the initiation. It's one of several initiations that transpired all the way back to AM 1130. Right. And sadly, Don Drysdale was dead. But all right, 3-2. So the Dodgers, when I got there, they ruled the roost. And the second most popular team in Los Angeles as I started high school was the USC Trojans. All right. Now, they weren't that far removed from having Orenthal James.
That's the OJ days, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the Coliseum was packed, a lot of USC money all throughout Southern California. They were the second most popular team, but then something happened in 79 and subsequently 79-80. What do you think that was?
Is that Magic?
Magic.
Lake Show?
Rookie, Michigan State.
Oh.
Off the This Is It, Make No Mistake Where You Are. That NCAA championship, Kenny Loggins with his song This Is It was the intro. I'll never forget it. It was Michigan State and Indiana State. It was Magic Johnson against the hick from French Lick, Larry Bird, and they came into the league at the same time. Well, the Lakers stole everybody's money when it came to popularity in that town from that minute.
Do you think that you could credit them in some ways for putting the NBA on a track to where it is today? Because I mean, there's a lot of conversation these days around the WNBA, for instance, and they're waiting for that pop, and maybe having a massive market win titles is part of that conversation. But specifically in the '80s with the Lakers, they weren't always swimming in cash, right?
Correct.
And at one point they needed a star. And that may have been Magic.
The old NBA in the 70s had some drug-related problems and had some gambling-related problems, but definitely drug-related problems. And its popularity was not nearly what it is today. I mean, I remember, being in Washington, D.C., trying to watch an NBA game or watch my beloved Washington Bullets play. Sometimes you had to wait till 11 o'clock at night to watch a game that began at 7 o'clock. They didn't even show them live.
And they had tape delay bits? Yeah.
A ton of tape delay bits. Magic and Bird come in, and now all of a sudden we go from that. Then we got Stockton and Malone. We got Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. We have the Dallas Mavericks were good. Dominique Wilkins for Atlanta. But Boston, L.A., East Coast, West Coast, no diggity. Yeah, that was the revitalization of the NBA. And then Michael Jordan came in and all bets were settled. But the Dodgers were the most popular team. Then it went USC, then it went Lakers, then Lakers ruled the roost. The Rams, when they moved to Anaheim and played at Anaheim Stadium, they lost a large amount of their fan base.
Right.
They were pissed off that they went to a different place. Then Al Davis moved the Oakland Raiders to Los Angeles, and they played at the Coliseum, and they were quite good. So then they stole some of their fans too. So there truly is a lot that goes into this. Man, I just can't wait to hear a big voice guy at SoFi Thursday get bad copy and say, former Rams Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connor. Super Bowl 56. McVay and O'Connell's Rams beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Vikings hired Kevin O'Connell to replace Mike Zimmer before the Super Bowl, or at least that was the heavy steam, and we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we know who our coach is going to be when we watch, I think it was Super Bowl 56. And KO is going to replace Zim. So now I'll just never forget watching that Super Bowl and waiting to see our new guy on the biggest stage and in high definition. All right, cool. It's our offense. Yeah, we know McVay calls all the plays. And we know that, when former defensive coordinator Wade Phillips is orchestrating the defense, McVay's back there sitting on some type of cooler, crafting the next greatest play in the history of greatest plays. And, he's one of the great thinkers in the history of the NFL.
That was one of the weirdest things, though, to see how much...
You remember the imagery, right?
Well, absolutely. But McVay when the team was on defense, he truly was not watching what was happening on the field. Yep. He was on the bench with Stafford, with the offensive staff, on a Microsoft Surface, planning their next possession.
Yes.
And that's just nutty and so unique to what we typically see with that patriarch standing tall on the sideline at all times.
So with Super Bowl 56, myself and the Vikings fans with whom I was watching the game, we just wanted to see what our new head coach looked like.
Yeah.
We just wanted to see what he was doing on the sideline. This is the biggest stage. It's in high definition, and our new coach is about ready to house the Super Bowl. So we go through the entire first half. They didn't show him one time. They didn't show O'Connell one time on television in the entire first half. And I'm like, damn, is he even a real person? Or, is our future head coach a rumor? So then the second half starts, all right, after the long halftime show. Second half starts very early in the second half, might even have been the first play, but very, very early. Matthew Stafford throws a pick, and he heads to the sideline right to Kevin O'Connell. So the first time we see our new coach, he's in a deep conversation with a quarterback who just threw a bad interception. And I'm like, cool. Vikings fans probably think our new guy was responsible for the pick. Right on. Vikings fans probably think our new coach calls plays that don't work. Oh, this is going to be great.
His best character trait is consoling his players after a massive on-field mistake.
It's the first time we saw him, and his countenance was that of a frown because he's consoling Stat Mafford after a pick to start the second half. Now, it's quite clear Kevin O'Connell has dialed up many plays here that do work, and in fact is 22-9 in regular season games when he has his number one quarterback. 22-9 in regular season games when he has his regular quarterback, and should be 23-9 off this Thursday night tilt. Should be 23-9. Vikings are favored. Vikings should win the game and go to 6-1, just like the 2009 season, if they don't turn it over and keep their eyes on Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, I mean, from a fantasy standpoint and just like a statistical equity standpoint from afar, yeah, I followed him. I haven't watched him that closely until this week. What a monster. Holy cow. 5th round pick in 2022 from Notre Dame. I mean, my man came out of nowhere to just steal the show. Kyren Williams has 9 touchdowns in 6 games this year. So, in closing, maybe the demise of ground and pound has been greatly exaggerated in what they call a passing league. Hear me when I tell you that. Maybe the demise of ground and pound has been greatly exaggerated in this league they call a passing league. Think about it. The Lions just went for nearly $150 on the Vikings. Williams has 8 rushing touchdowns, 9 overall. And Aaron Jones might be the most vital guy to the Vikings offensive equation. And Derrick Henry is on pace to break Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. Said beast went for 169 last night on those battered Bucks. He has 873 rushing yards this season, Derrick Henry, and is on pace for 2,120, which would beat Dickerson's 1984 mark of 2,105. So maybe the demise of running attacks and ground and pound has been greatly exaggerated. Around the corner, we have some KO cuts, as a mad producer mentioned. After that, Vikes Bites. Tease us with a bite. What do we got up our sleeves in Vikes Bites? Because if you're a little skinny, I saw something yesterday on the injury report that raised my eyebrow and everybody else's eyebrows.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to get into the injury report as we look at guys we may or may not have on Thursday, and we look at guys the Rams most likely will have on Thursday.
Yep.
But I want to talk to you about getting our stars the ball and putting them in better spots to be said stars.
Please leave on 9 to noon a talkback for our 11:35 guest, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, general manager of the Minnesota Vikings. He's the X's and O's piece this week. Happens every single season. We have a short week from a Sunday to a Thursday. The coaches are on like 16-hour day schedules getting ready for games. So the general manager jumps in here. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, 11:35 today. And you can leave us a talkback for that at the free iHeartRadio app, just like you do KO on a weekly basis. And we'll drop it in for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. And during the course of the run today, we will be texting and talking back more than people know about our beloved Hal. How are the voices off a Hal-related layoff? I'll go first. Hal!
Ooh, that's not bad.
I give it about a 6.2. What about you? Man, we sound like Wolfman about ready to...
We're ready to go.
Bite the Lakers' necks. So the Timberwolves debut this evening. It's our beloved Hal. They're at the L.A. Lakers on KFAN. Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, calls us from old Beverly Hills at 8 his time, 10 our time, 10 a.m. for Pinchy, which is about 40 minutes from now. And all of that is courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. That's what's on deck, or part of what's on deck, 9 to noon. And Max Fuller has some really good news for somebody out there because it is now post time for the cash thing, courtesy of 9 to noon at FM 100.3 KFAN. And here comes Maxwell.
You're right, PA. The Fan and two men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword deposit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword deposit. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Fan.
Head over to KFAN.com and make the keyword contest to enter for a chance to win a Papa Murphy's family meal deal, including a family-sized pepperoni pizza, cookie dough, and classic cheesy bread. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
Feeling this music. Welcome back, 9 to noon, TCO Studios at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in Eagan. And I mentioned some KO cuts, a very Vikings-heavy first hour. Vikes Bites around the corner, and PA piqued our interest before the break, injury report related. But first, some KO cuts is Kevin O'Connell not able to join us today, so we're going to feast on what he was talking about with the media yesterday. And I had Max dig up a few of my favorites from that conversation. And I'm just going to run you through it. And if anything hits you, PA, let's talk it out. And I want to start here.
I'm in.
The idea, again, the optimism that we were talking about after a loss, right? And faces needing to be changed and how to view the way that the Vikings looked.
I think it was face needed to be changed. I needed a little mental work done on me by you and the fan base. And for that, I thank all of you.
And I think you're back. He's back.
I'm back. I mean, I'm happy. I'm getting over the hump.
But it is really about a 5-1 team.
Yeah.
And nitpicking the minutia, cleaning up simple mistakes. And here's what the head coach had to say.
You know, that one play in the second quarter that could make the difference. That one clean execution where we don't have, a self-inflicted penalty or a mistake that sets us behind the chains. It's just simple execution and guys doing their job offensively and then defensively. It's the same thing, trusting in the plan and doing everything we can on an every snap basis to give ourselves the best chance to win football games. And regardless of the opponent, that's what we have to do.
So I wonder,
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is clean execution?
Clean execution?
Oh, clean execution. I thought it was we have clean execution. I mean, I'm like at the Webster's Merriam website trying to figure out what "cution" means. Clean execution.
I wonder.
I don't know. I can't remember that play he's talking about in the first half.
I got to dig back into the play-by-play aspect of it as well. But why it hit me is you lose a game. Is it harder to lose a game from a scheming and moving on and growing standpoint? I wonder sometimes if it's harder to just know that you had a bad scheme, that the ideas were bad.
You mean scheme or play?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's drill it down even farther into a particular play.
You know what I'm saying?
But but to walk away from a game you lost because you drew up an awful play, you made a mistake from a philosophical standpoint, versus losing a game and knowing you had the right philosophy, the right play, the right scheme, but it was an execution issue.
Yeah.
I wonder how a guy like Kevin deals with that over the course of the week, where he's going to sit down with certain aspects or certain players and of course the offensive staff, and he's going to go, no, this was the right idea, but here's this small L that I'm going to point out on film. Defensively, Cam Bynum was with Dan Barrero yesterday talking about he had a tell on a particular play, and it was the wrong tell.
Hey.
He kind of got. And so,
on the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown?
I believe that's the case, yeah. And so, is it easier to say I had the wrong idea or it was the right idea and I just flubbed it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I really, really like about that approach you just took is because it plays into what I believe the best of the very best in this day and age of the National Football League possess. And despite generations and eras and genres moving on and changing. All right, so we talked about like Los Angeles in 79 and 80.
Yeah.
What life was like then. Okay, well, obviously things are going to evolve over the course of time.
It's a different world, PA.
Well, that also means coaches in the National Football League right in front of the pandemic, during the pandemic, and post-pandemic. And we're not going to go down the road of, like I'll just lay it out like this, and I think I said it on the radio. In when the pandemic hit, the 2020 season, is, I said to Nordo and a few other people, the last thing a team is going to want is a coach like Bill Parcells, Frank Kush, Woody Hayes, maybe even Bill Belichick. These kids, they don't want to be yelled at in the first place, but when they're cooped up in their apartments and their condos all during the week and they can't leave, and then all of a sudden they make a mistake and they do the testing truck, the last thing they want to do is be yelled at consistently and incessantly and just beaten down. That doesn't work anymore. That approach, see Andy Reid, who has seen it the right way all of his career. Big Red can yell, but Big Red handles man the way man should be handled, in football or not. And it plays into what you said, because there are two sides of it. If the scheme design, the play design, you felt was good, and then they ran the play and everybody went to their right spots, but it was like, oh, damn, okay, we'll chalk that one up. It's whenever I think we're going to get this and I think this is going to work, and now we've run it and we got what we wanted and didn't work.
Right.
It just, players weren't open. Okay, well, you have culpability within your covenant in the meeting room with everybody in the team. Guys, I messed that one up. And it's not superficial. Just because, like, say you're about ready to get into a player who ran 3 wrong routes and you were concerned about him during the course of the week when it comes to paying attention to detail, and then he messed it up. Okay, well, the last thing the player wants is for you to dress him down in front of all the other players.
Correct.
So you can get into it once, but it really, really makes sense if you first get into, guys, look at this. That's my bad. We worked on this 15 times during the course of the week. I was completely wrong. And then you start talking about other things with the players. Let's go back to week 2 last year when the Vikings defense was learning the comprehensive nature of the Flores tricks. I've shared this with you before. Things were going decently at Lincoln Financial. Then there was a busted coverage to Devontae Smith for like a 65-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So I see, so the Eagles lead, whatever, on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network. And we go to break. I have my binoculars on Byron Murphy, and he's sprinting from the other side of the field to the bench, yelling. And I'm like, what? His helmet, he took his helmet off, yelling. I'm like, what's happening here? So then I go to the bench, and I see Brian Flores slowly walking to where Murphy's going to land, and he's tapping his chest. Couldn't read his lips. I'm not a lip reader guy, but I'm assuming it's my bad. He's like, my
it's
bad.
On me.
It's on me. Thank you. That's my bad. My bad. And they had a couple of words, moved on, situation got fixed. That's the answer to your question. That's how McVay handles things. That's how Reed handles things. That's how LaFleur handles things. That's how O'Connell handles situations. Now, I'm not in the meeting rooms or obviously in the facility for the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't believe that's how Mike McCarthy handles things. And I could bring up other coaches' names too. Kyle Shanahan handles things like that. Pete Carroll was fantastic at that.
Cheerleader guy.
Got run out of his team pretty much every single year, right? Including a Super Bowl victory.
Chewed a lot of gum.
So that's the answer to the question. Just be honest. Just don't be so overly prideful that because some ancillary piece to your covenant has made a mistake. And now because you're the boss, you're the coach, your pride is such a detriment to your heart that you're so offended somebody would bring up that mistake that you chew them out.
Right.
You first take culpability for the problem that has transpired. And then you work it out together, in essence, as a village. That's what O'Connell's really good at. That's what Flores is really good at, and all those other coaches that I mentioned. But it's all born of honesty. It's just the timing of how you do it is what truly makes the best bosses, the best coaches.
And to bring this home, I liked, because I mentioned it yesterday, that big 3rd and 4 play. And it just looked to me, and I think it was Addison and Jefferson on that same side.
I went and watched it back twice after you said it. You were dead right.
And here's what the head coach had to say.
Hold on. I didn't hear the press conference yesterday. I'm betting Addison messed it up, but go ahead.
Well, let's there's still a little bit left on the table that we'll have to read through the tea leaves, but the head coach did offer this in regard to that 3rd and 4.
Yeah, I think we got to maximize the space a little bit better, whether that's our pre-snap formation or just, finishing the concept the way we need to finish it. We do not want to have those two players kind of stacked there. As Sam's moving to it, kind of a play that had a separate play attached to it. If we got a different defensive look, and then, that's a throw and catch that I think if we have a clear path to throw Justin right there, I think we throw and catch that thing and move on. I also thought there were some real opportunities. We got 5 on the first one. I thought there was some space in there on the second one as well. That could have been a scenario where a little bit cleaner all the way around, a little bit, just a little bit more, a little bit better execution. And but we did want to, try to get that first down. And we'd had it was a unique game where kind of the flavor of the day shifted as the game went on to a little bit more, kind of different variations of man coverage. That gave us a chance to kind of combat a lot of what we had seen. Just did not have clean execution all the way from snap to whistle on the play that I did think affected that one.
Well, I'm glad Max included the rest of that because
well done.
It kind of evolved beyond. So
he gave you the answer at the end.
I guess in some ways maybe he did, but it just starting off with that, I wonder how O'Connell, again in those moments, in that minutia, the Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. I'm sitting around as a rube. I'm going, somebody ran the wrong route.
Yep.
Somebody messed up. And Addison, guess what? You were offside earlier in the game, so I'm assuming you were just out to lunch on this one too. And that's unfair to Jordan Addison to say that. I have no idea who, but in that moment, the minutia, those little moments, he goes on to explain, hey, we got 5 yards on the ground on first down. We're up by a point. I want to drain this thing. I think we can get 4 more. Oh, wow. I think we can get 4 more on second down. He gets stuffed. I think it was a gain. Yeah, it was a gain of a yard. On the second down play.
Yep.
And just those little moments. I mean, and if I'm Kevin O'Connell, you hear that a day after the loss, and you're like, I had it right. I had it right. I had it right. And I needed something else than what I got from an execution standpoint. And how close games like this, that was that was such a heavyweight fight in some ways that took place. And you have those 4 touchdown drives and you're down and you face that adversity and you crawled your way back and it's a touch pass from Sam. It's a better route run by either our favorite JJ, one of our budding young stars, and Jordan Addison. Somebody messed up and that left it on the table for the purple.
Well, Jefferson fired off the line of scrimmage opposite Carlton Davis. Now, O'Connell dropped 2 significant nuggets in that bite. One was the way the Lions were playing man coverage changed. Now, see, that's example 1005. Just how difficult football is, truly is, and how smart you have to be to notice things like that.
Yeah.
Hey, they were playing man coverage with, I don't know, inside shade. Now they're outside. Whatever goes into that whole bit. But he said they changed the way they were playing man coverage. So now they have Darnold roll out right, which was the right call. Get away from whatever pressure is going to come at you. The play's going to be over there. We're going to get 4 to 6 yards. We're going to win the game. And Jefferson fired off the line. Now, you'll see Carlton Davis on that play. He looks like he's going to force Jefferson inside, but then he changes late. And he takes basically the left side of Jefferson. Perfect. Because O'Connell knew that was coming. They had changed the way they're playing man during the play. And Jefferson's going to bust right. I don't think it was an option route where Justin had the option of left or right, depending on what the corner does.
Feels like it was planned.
He went right.
Yeah,
because he was full speed. Full speed. And then there's Jordan. I mean, when you watch it back, there's plenty of room for Jordan to go left. If Jordan runs left, I mean, he might have been open there for a catch and run. So there's your dagger. That the first point was they changed the way they were playing man during the game. We have brainiacs. We know it, and we're going to beat it. And that's why they pay us what they pay us. And he was right. Until the execution doesn't go the right way, and now you're stacking them. And, that plays into Darnold having to throw it harder than he's supposed to. And also where he had to throw it potentially, which was way too high. So that, I didn't hear that cut yesterday, and that pretty much answers the question on what was like the newest, biggest play of the entire game, and something got messed up. All right, Vikes Bites are around the corner. And then after that, Chris Finch calling 9 to noon from Southern California to celebrate and discuss the Timberwolves season and season opener tonight at the LA Lakers. And it's on KFAN. We'll be right back.
Get ready to laugh until you cry. Nick Swartzen, the hilarious star of Reno 911 and Grandma's Boy, is bringing his side-splitting stand-up to the State Theater. Say that 10 times fast. On January 10th. Don't miss your chance to hear his outrageous stories and unforgettable jokes live. Tickets are on sale now. Get the full details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
It's that time for Vikes Bites.
It's Vikes Bites.
Brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. ThousandHillsLifetimeGrazed.com. You can shop online. A box of meat shows up at your doorstep, and it's delicious. Or you can go to your local co-ops and local Coburn's locations. They're proud sponsors of Gopher Athletics. Local and local. Love it. Here we're going to start here, though, because I got some things to hit you with. But earlier in the show, you said something piqued your interest regarding the injury report, PA. So tell us, what's going on?
Hey, Max.
Hey, what's good, PA?
Main page, 9 to noon, top left corner, entitled Murmur. You see it?
Wait, what page you say?
Main page, top left, Murmur.
Oh my gosh, can you
Okay, you got it. Okay, now hit it after I say the word season. You ready?
Ready, PA.
Now, the Minnesota Vikings and Rams had like a walkthrough on Monday for a Thursday game. That's how it works. They put out an injury report. And I noticed for the Minnesota Vikings, like you had Blake Cashman did not practice, toe, stuff like that, a bunch of limiteds.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the Vikings listing of injured players or players coming back from injury, you'll see the name Dalton Reisner. And for the first time this season, Dalton went from limited to full.
Woo!
First time all year, Reisner, limited, scratch, went full for the first time. I'm just going to read between the lines.
Yeah.
And think if they have Dalton Reisner fully practicing, I'm not even going to speculate what's going to happen. We're just going to go ahead and play the game and see who gets out there and starts at right guard. I have no confirmation on anything. Nothing is overly steamy to me.
Right.
I'm just saying, if Reisner's on the team, Reisner has started a lot of games, and for the 5-1 operation, he has been listed as limited at practice all the while he comes back from what I believe is a back. Well, they listed him full, which means he was a full participant at practice, which means he potentially could be a full participant in a game. And you ain't moving Blake Brandel. At least I don't think you would. So that could be tenuous, and we'll see what happens Thursday night.
Yeah, and Cooper Kupp, a full participant for the Rams.
Exactly the way we laid it out yesterday, where he went from almost playing in the game against the Raiders. McVay was like, he's 92%. We can beat them without him, with Stafford having like 140 yards.
And they were right.
Stafford had a rough game. And we're going to dust him off when my friend comes to town. Old Cooper Cup trick on Thursday Night Football.
Well, we might be dusting off our own guy, though, with T.J. Hawkinson.
Right.
Maybe we were saying he's
Man.
he's 92%, and I know he's playing his former team at US Bank Stadium, but
Right.
we could have him 100%
Right.
ready to go Thursday night against his former guy.
Yeah, I probably needed to see that thing I saw about Reisner. It just jumped off the page to me. And about 30 minutes from now, when the scribe is here at TCO Studios, we'll talk to him about it because it just was such a stark change for me seeing Reisner go full.
Yeah.
And look at the rest of the names. So what do we have here? Cashman did not practice. Caleb Evans limited. Oh, TJ was limited. All right, so TJ's limited. He's within that window. Aaron Jones limited.
Patrick Jones again with the shoulder.
Yep, Josh
limited.
Oliver, Harrison Phillips with the shoulder. Okay.
I'm actually not surprised by any of those others.
I'd guess, and again, I'm guessing, no team information or anything. I would guess this is a Hawkinson game, especially off a loss.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm glad when we get Gessling in here, I do want to ask you guys about the offensive line and the Reisner bit, because we talked about it in some fashion last week. And I just have to be honest, and I was talking with Ron Johnson about this on Fan Line. Mm-hmm. I'm not pretending to either at any point know exactly what every member of the Minnesota Moving Company is supposed to be doing on every single play. And I don't want to pick a guy out, so I need to know whether my perception is biased, like I'm looking for Ed Ingram to fail. The only time he jumps off the page to me in any situation is when he's getting fooled on a stunt or he's getting bull rushed by the Aleem McNeil cats of the world. And I just need to know whether my perception is accurate or if it's negatively slanted. But Reisner coming back and practicing in the mix.
But going full, because he was limited every day last week.
Yep.
So to go full actually is a big notation.
And it means he's an option.
It means that, he goes from being kind of an option to absolutely an option. You're missing an Ingram play that was very noteworthy. And it's interesting because this play I'm going to bring up took place in a game that was officiated by the same guy who's doing Thursday night's game, Trey Blake.
Oh, gosh.
Bro, we got Trey Blake on Thursday night for the first time since the Indy game. Hey, Trey Blake, though.
You know exactly what I'm going to do. Like the way you showed him the murmur on the button bar, you know exactly what I'm going to do next during this break.
But on that 2-point conversion in that game with the frenzy going nuts, Hawkinson caught it back center of the end zone. Remember, we were watching the play together Monday, and then I went to the end zone angle, and I'm like, all right, there are two beef eaters here. One is somebody nobody's ever heard of. The other's DeForest Buckner.
Oh, yeah.
And the snap takes place, and Ingram, for whatever the reason, decides to double team the guy nobody's heard of. And I can't believe leaving DeForest Buckner free was the plan, or at least chipping him or whatever. I'm going to guess the double probably went the way of seeing DeForest for DeTrees.
They're doubling the undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Buckner is almost shocked that, you could see the initial rush, and it's like, well, hold on here. Where'd the offensive line go?
Yeah, but we don't know.
Is this a ruse?
Hey, we're not going to try to be 9 to noon PFF.
Yes, that's true.
We don't know what the play call was. We have no idea what the assignments were, what the responsibilities were, and maybe the college free agent will end up being John Randall. We're just merely reporting what we saw on a 2-point conversion.
Vikes Bites. In old people needing their sleep news, Vikings Colts flex to Sunday Night Football. So mini bye after this Rams game on Thursday. And I think it was Jaguars Eagles. Correct me if I'm wrong, Max. I think it was Jags Eagles. That was the Sunday night game. They've moved to an afternoon slot. Mm-hmm. And Vikings Colts. It's Sam Darnold v. Anthony Richardson and company on Sunday night. So get your coffee going. It's going to be a fun one, a night game at US Bank Stadium. Week 9, Vikings and Colts.
Okay, how you feel about that, host of Vikings Fan Line?
Yeah, see that. Again,
Think about it. If a 2022 Vikings Colts game breaks out, where we're down 33 points, come back, and the largest comeback in the history of the NFL, well, Fan Line has to go to 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Because the game will go till 11:30, And then you got Muss with the post game. That's 90 minutes.
Then I can just I'll nap at the station.
Yeah, and then so that that factors into everything. But that'll be a standalone game on Sunday Night Football.
I assume the average fan, and we got a text line. You can tell me if I'm wrong on this. The average fan would prefer a noon or a 3:00 game. In comparison, I mean the night games are so fun.
Yeah.
There's the sundown aura of this. We're under the stars. It's the bright lights.
Yep.
You know, you're going to have some sort of pregame bid. Hey, the national TV people, there they are on the sideline. They're looking at us. They're talking about us. They care about us. A noon game, though, kegs and eggs, and you're still able to kind of enjoy half a Sunday afterwards. I don't know. But Vikes Bites, unless all about me, selfish, old people getting sleep-related news, yes.
Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, joins 9 to noon around the corner. They play the Lakers tonight on KFAN to crack open the 2024-25. Finchy is next from Southern California on KFAN.